Hello, everyone, and welcome to Shakespeare and Music, a fully online asynchronous gen ed arts course. Asynchronous means that there are no set meeting times, so we will not be meeting in person and we will not be meeting on Zoom. Everything happens here in the online course. There are set due dates, so you do need to stay on task and make sure that you are meeting all goals and benchmarks in order to stay on target, but there are no required times when you must be online at a specific time. As you can see here, the Start Here module is where you should begin. You've probably already figured that out because this intro video is going to be here on the Start Here page. This tells you a little bit about the course and what to expect in terms of the routine. So you can take a look here and see the general things that you can expect every week. You will find a to-do list to get started, and you should do these things in order. This is where the course tour will be. And then once you've gone through all of that, let's take a look here at the modules page to get you oriented. Here's how to get help in the course. You can find the instructor contact info here, student resources available to you, and tech support. Module 1 is where you will begin your first lesson, which is due in the first week of the course. The first week also includes some getting to know you activities, such as an introduction discussion board and a course orientation quiz, but these are not really part of the first lesson. That starts all in Module 1. Notice here how the module is grayed out except for the module overview page. That's because the modules are set up so you need to complete them in order. It's very important that you do that and you don't try to just wait until the due date and then go straight to the assignments. And sometimes students do that either from their course homepage or from their calendar because they'll see a list of assignments, in their calendar and say, oh, here it is, and they try to click straight on it. It won't let you do that. It will make you go through all the lessons first because it's very important that you actually have the information that you need to be successful in the assessments. They're designed to test your knowledge of the lessons. So you need to plan your time well so that you spend enough time on each of the lessons in order to be successful on the assessments. I've tried to help you out with that by putting on the module overview page the approximate amount of time it should take you to complete each lesson. This should help you better budget your time as you go throughout your week and plan when you complete different activities. Again, you do need to complete them in order though. Certain lessons don't have anything to turn in, but I have recommended due dates to keep you on task. Certain things you do need to submit, and those have due dates here as well. The due dates are always going to be by 11:59 p.m., so just kind of keep that in mind. And if you do get behind and you need to submit something late once in a while, it's not the end of the world, but be aware that modules will lock 2 weeks after the due date. So you will not be able to submit anything past that time. However, I really recommend that you do not make it a habit to do that. This is an interactive course where you're communicating with your classmates, and so you really need to do your best to meet all of these deadlines. Put them in your calendar, make sure that they are on your radar, and most successful students actually plan certain times during the week when they're going to log into the course. So for example, every Wednesday from 2 to 4, I'm going to log in and work on the course. And then again, every Friday from 1 to 3 or whatever. But that's what most successful students in online courses do. And that's what I recommend you do as well. Once you're done here viewing the module overview, you can either go back to the modules page or you can just click next, and that will take you directly to the next lesson. Lessons are interactive. There are things to watch. There are some things to do. This particular lesson has tabs to delineate each of these different vocabulary terms that you will need to know. So make sure that you do those. Again, when you're done, you'll go down to the bottom and you will click next to go to the next part of the course. Once you've gone through the entire lesson, you will get to the first assessment. And these assessments are designed to ensure that you are understanding these concepts and that you have a good idea of what you need to know in order to be successful in the rest of the course. So the first one is a musical analysis assignment. Assignments are things that you're going to be turning in. Please note that every assignment will have an AI policy, and they're not always going to be the same on every single assignment, but you need to be careful to read the assignment AI policy carefully and ensure that you are meeting the policy. Again, you may have slightly different ones on certain assignments that might allow you to use AI for certain reasons, but in general, you are not permitted to use AI to generate, rewrite, paraphrase, translate, or substantially revise your work. So if you have questions, contact the instructor, but we're very strict about this in the online course. And if you do get a flag for using AI, You'll have to meet with the instructor to talk about it. And if it does turn out that you are using AI inappropriately, you could get a flag on your academic record and will result in failure of the assignment or possibly failure of the course. So please do not mess around with that. We want to see that you are doing your own learning and we want to get to know you as well. All right, so once you've done the assignment, submitted it here, you can see the different submission types. You should be good to go. Quizzes generally have 2 attempts for each one. Your average score will count. So make sure that you have done the activity well enough that you feel confident, because you only get those 2 attempts and it is the average. So you can't just go into the quiz, open it, look at it, kind of figure out the answers, and then not submit that first attempt, because you'll get a 0 and that will count towards your average. So make sure both of your attempts are genuine, real attempts at the quiz. If you find something problematic, something that you are not sure about, and you have a question, feel free to take a screenshot and contact the instructor. That's fine. Okay, going back to the modules page. Some of these activities are actually set up as quizzes, but they're not quizzes. So if we skip down here to the first module where we're reading Romeo and Juliet, you'll see here that it says read the play, and it has this little rocket ship, which indicates that it's a quiz. This is not really a quiz. What this is a way to gauge if you are doing the activities you're supposed to do and kind of trusting you to self-report that. We will be checking them, so make sure that you are not being dishonest about this, but they are a way for you to just kind of collect points after doing specified activities. So in this case, we're asking you to read the play. And then when you get down to the bottom here, you'll see something called a Padlet. This is one of 2 interactive things in the course. Padlets are very easy. They are usually kind of like short discussion boards. So think of them as just quick little ways to interact with your classmates. This one is just a reaction to the play. So what was your experience? Did you have any challenges? What character or scene did you connect with? And then ask a question and respond to somebody else. Once you've done that, and the way you do that is just by clicking post. You can type, you can record yourself if you want to, you can add links to things, which is especially helpful if you're sharing music, anything you want. Make sure you add your name to it. So student YZ, whatever your name is, and that way you get credit. And then once you're done with that, you hit publish and it will just appear right there. If you do not have a Padlet account, it will show up as anonymous, which is why it's important to sign your name. If you want to sign up for a Padlet account, that's great. You absolutely can. It's free. However, sometimes in these embedded Padlets, it will still show up as anonymous even if you're logged in. So the way to get around that is to just open the Padlet in a new tab, sign into your account, and then you'll be able to post. Hopefully, it should show up just fine with your name. As you can see here, I am now logged in now that I'm in a new post. So it should show up with my name now. Let's see. Yes. See, so I was logged in the whole time. It showed up as anonymous when I was in the course, but it showed up with my name when it was in a new tab. So just open it in a new tab if you want to just have your name right there at the top, nice and neat. The other, I'm sorry. And then when you're done, you just hit this question right here by selecting true. I certify that I have done XYZ. You hit true, and then you just get the points for that activity. 20 points, boom, done. Don't forget to do that. And again, this is set up like a quiz, but there's no time limit. You can take it as many times as you want. So if you want to open it up and look at it, close it, come back to it later, that's fine. It's not really a quiz. The other type of activity that you'll encounter that's an interactive sort of activity is also in the lessons. Let's see, here's an example of that here. In Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet, you'll see here that there's 2 different time markers. One is for the lesson, and then 2 is for the film viewing. Some viewings are optional, some are required. This one is an optional film viewing. Once you've read through the text here, you'll see this pop up. This is a Genially lesson. You will have to put in your name before you can access it. Again, it's free. Put your full name in, please, so that we know who is who. Hit start, and then you'll be able to access the lesson here. Some of the slides will have audio on them, and you'll need to click the button to play it. And then some of them will not. It'll just be reading. So as you go through the lesson, you'll see that there are these interactive portions where you can actually flip cards around and things like that. If you want to, you can make it full screen so you can see a little bit more easily. Here's another audio where I have recorded narrative for you that you should listen to. Sometimes you will see that there are embedded videos. You should watch those. And then if we go to the end here, you'll see that there's actually good little quizzes that you should complete. Some of them are actual quizzes to test knowledge. Some of them are just to get your opinion. So here's one asking if you understand what the lyrics are about, which was explained in the lesson. And then when you get to the end here, you have a short answer question. So here you will need to fill this in as well and send it off. We'll let you finish the lesson. And there you go. So we'll get out of full screen mode here. Same thing here then. It's set up as a graded quiz. So if we go into the preview mode, you'll see you'll be able to answer that as well. And same thing. I did the lesson. I did everything I was supposed to do. True. Boom. I get the points. All right. So that's how these work. These are the main things you'll encounter in the course. These are kind of low stakes activities. They're just to make sure that you're engaging with the course. We can kind of help track your progress, see if you're getting things right or wrong, make sure that you are understanding the important concepts. And they're a way for you to practice things before you get to the actual activities and assessments that are more high stakes. Speaking of, you can see all of these in the syllabus, but just to give you an idea, there's a few different kinds of assessments you'll encounter regularly. Reading quizzes will follow every play. About midway through the unit, you will have some kind of assignments. And then at the end, you will have some sort of discussion board. This can be a true discussion board where you're actually debating a topic that might be a little bit debatable or controversial or something like that. Or it can be an activity that you're sharing with your classmates to get feedback on. So any of those things are fair game, but those are the basic structures of how the week will go. Some weeks you don't have anything major due, like this week in week 5, and in week 4, you're just turning in these little lessons and that's all, and those are auto-graded. And then other weeks you'll actually have to turn in something a little bit bigger. That's basically how it works. At the end of the course, you will have a final project to do. That will be explained in more detail later. But otherwise, it's just these smaller assignments every week. The final project is the only big thing that you're doing in the course, and that will be a capstone project that kind of sees if you've gotten the overall idea of the course, which is to try to get a good sense of how music can change a story and change a character. That pretty much wraps it up. And be sure to read the syllabus. I hope you enjoy Shakespeare and music. It was a fun course to design, and it's a fun course to engage with students in. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact your instructor, and enjoy.